It was way back in the 60s. After 2 days of grueling train journey, we finally arrived at our destination. My fellow Jesuit student and myself had left Malta to continue our studies in France. We were exhausted, loaded with heavy luggage, lost in a big city with just 5 Maltese lire in our pockets, and literally starving. In our minds, there was one great priority: food, glorious food. We stopped at the first food shop and studied our options. One super condition was buy the biggest food item at the cheapest possible price. Later, we discovered that the biggest and cheapest thing we chose was called a croissant, and we bought 2 of them. Immediately, we dug into them voraciously, but the first bite was enough to deflate our enthusiasm. The warm, sweet-smelling prize was indeed a puffed croissant, impressively big and tempting on the outside, but disappointingly hollowed on the inside. It was just a tasty bit of crust. What a depressing disappointment. I cannot help recalling that tempting but hollow croissant whenever I read today's Gospel. It's all about the hunger of humanity and its obsession with food, glorious food, according to Oliver Twist. The crowds of hungry people went out looking for Jesus. But, and a big but, was it really Jesus they were seeking? Or was it the free food that Jesus provided on previous occasions? And Jesus challenges them squarely. You are looking for me, not because you saw signs, but because you ate the loaves and had your fill. Which reminds me of the similar question Jesus asked Mary at the tomb, "Woman, whom are you seeking?" So often, because we are constantly hungry, we little realize that our search is not for someone. We're constantly searching for something. Let us be honest. When we go to see a doctor, we actually want the doctor to see us and relieve our pains. When we go to the baker or grocer, actually, we're only interested in the bread and the groceries, not in the grocer. And when we go to Jesus, we are much more interested in the graces, the favors, the miracles, or the help we need to get from Him, but not in Jesus Himself. I'm always impressed by the ex-votos hanging on the walls of churches and sanctuaries, of Our Lady or some powerful saint who is particularly renowned for performing miracles. So much pain, so much hunger, so many needs, sicknesses, problems that seem to have been solved, satisfied, cured by that great saint. That's our humanity, struggling to survive in our vale of tears. Can you blame anyone for begging food when hungry, help when needed, cured when sick? Is it a bad thing to ask Jesus to save us from our hunger and thirst for life, health, happiness, peace? Is Jesus in today's gospel blaming the people for turning to Him for food when they were hungry? The answer is definitely no. Jesus is not annoyed by our begging for what we need to survive. Jesus is only worried and sad that in our hunger and thirst for day-to-day survival, we fail to see what our real and deeper hunger is telling us about who we are. Jesus wants to cure our short-sightedness, our superficiality, so that we can discover the real life we have been created for. No, we have not been created to survive our earthly existence. We have been created for greater things. Our life is not just a struggle to survive here on earth, where everything is temporary, everything is short lived and destined to vanish. Because we are made for a life that has no end. Our real hunger is for things eternal. Our spiritual clocks are perpetual clocks, which do not mark just a passing hour, but point to an eternal and everlasting timelessness. What a pity when, in our struggle to build our heaven on earth, we lose sight of the ultimate beauty of transforming our poor earth into heaven. What a pity when we concentrate on filling up our stomachs, only to discover that they become so quickly empty again. Our earthly food may help us to live for another day, but will never satisfy our thirst for life. Do not work for food that perishes, but for the food that endures for eternal life, which the Son of Man will give you, says Jesus. And what kind of food lasts forever? Well, ask yourselves, what makes a family lunch a marvelous and life-giving moment? Is it the roast beef? Is it the exquisite tasty soup? The delicious birthday cake? Or is it the togetherness of parents with their children? Of newlywed husband and wife celebrating their union? Of parents rejoicing in the birth of a new child? What makes a party memorable? Is it the food or the loving presence of the guests who are real and true friends rather than just business or entertaining partners? The guests are more important than the food because it is the love that gives meaning to the food and the drink. It is the people who make the party and not the caterer or the catering. This is what Jesus is asking the hungry people. Did you come for the food to fill your stomachs or the food that sustains and gives meaning to your lives? For the people, this was an astonishing and challenging question, just as it is for us. Even whilst doing our shopping, ordering our menu, drinking at a reception, or attending a Sunday Mass, together with the people of his time, Jesus challenges us. Do not work for food that perishes, but for the food that endures for eternal life, which the Son of Man will give you. And like the people who Jesus challenged, we also eagerly, even if hesitantly, ask, what can we do to accomplish the works of God? And once again, Jesus is telling us, this is the work of God, that you believe in the one whom he has sent. In other words, he's telling us, concentrate on the giver rather than the gift. People matter more than things. Relationships matter more than parties. Loving commitments are more precious than partnerships. Things may give comfort, but only seeing and loving Jesus in people will give meaning to our lives. Anything less than this will reduce our lives to a frustrating and useless effort to fill our empty souls with just big, impressive, but hollow croissant. God bless you and thank you.